Welcome to the Deep Dive. Today we're plunging into a literary classic that really continues to resonate, I think, Fyodor Dostoevsky's White Nights. We've really dug through a lot of analyses, critiques, reader thoughts to bring you the heart of this quite poignant novella. Our mission today, well, it isn't just to recap the story. It's more about grappling with this question Dostoevsky kind of subtly asks, can just one single intense moment of real human connection, even if it's fleeting or maybe unrequited, can that be enough? Enough to justify a whole lifetime of, well, solitude and longing. It's really a journey into the human psyche. Some readers have said it didn't just move them, it actually broke them. But interestingly, in a profoundly beautiful way.
Yeah, and what's truly fascinating, I think, is Dostoevsky's genius. How he crafts this deeply universal experience from a very specific setting, a very specific story. It was written back in 1848, this compact novel, and it really invites you to engage not just your mind, but your heart, to really get the texture of life, especially its quieter parts.
Okay, so let's unpack the world of White Nights a bit. It happens over 4 of those luminous St. Petersburg evenings. The setting itself almost feels like a character, doesn't it?
Absolutely. It really amplifies the dreamer's isolation, even before Nastenka comes into the picture.
Right, and at its core, it's about this lonely young man, our protagonist. His life is just completely altered by meeting this melancholic young woman, Nastenka.
Indeed. And the sources, they don't just say he's lonely, they call him an alienated, chronic dreamer. He's a character who, well, he usually keeps reality at arm's length, preferring this rich inner world, all imagination. So this meeting with Nastenka, it's not just a detour for him, it's a real anomaly. It pulls him, just for a moment, out of that self-imposed bubble.
And Nastenka herself, she's not simply a damsel in distress either. She's got her own quite poignant story. We find out she's waiting for a man she's promised to marry, who should be back in St. Petersburg any day now. And our protagonist, the romantic he is, almost instantly offers to help her, deliver a letter for her. It shows this kind of selfless, almost adolescent infatuation right away. It makes you think of those intense high school crushes, doesn't it?
It does, yeah, but I think it's maybe more profound than just a simple high school tale of unrequited love. Dostoevsky's showing us a situation where the protagonist, he seems to know his feelings won't be returned, but he acts on them anyway with this naive and selfless love. And that brings up a really interesting question for us, for you listening. Is this selflessness truly noble? Or is it maybe another way the dreamer avoids, real messy reality? Is love only pure if it stays unrequited, if it isn't sort of tainted by the demands of an actual relationship?
That's interesting. The dreamer, that's how he's always identified. What does that really mean for his character, for how he sees the world, and for the story's message? Is it like a coping mechanism, a strength, or maybe is it presented as a kind of fundamental flaw?
Well, the sources show that the dreamer, he carefully builds this vivid internal world, a place where, as Dostoevsky puts it, love and happiness are within reach. His imagination is just so powerful. He almost believes their fantasies are genuine, not just fantasies. So for him, reality often takes a backseat. He really does live in his dreams.
Okay, but that kind of internal sanctuary, it sounds wonderfully protective, sure, but also temporary. Does reality ever break through that carefully built dream world? And what happens when it does? What are the consequences?
Oh, absolutely it does. While that fantastical escape, initially it proves better than the harshness of the waking world, eventually the cruel realization dawns that this respite is only temporary. Ultimately, and the sources really emphasize this, those fantastical escapades become tiresome. The old ideals crumble, and they leave only dust and splinters to rebuild upon. It's a pretty devastating recognition, really, how fragile those inner refuges can be.
Yeah, cruel realization sounds like a serious blow. So if his escape is just temporary, how does Dostoevsky then connect that inner turmoil to the bigger themes? Love, human connection in the story. What does it all mean for the dreamer's emotional state once reality, crashes in?
Well, when reality inevitably hits, he's left with this really complex mix of emotions. There's wonder, excitement, but also sadness and longing. The beauty of how Dostoevsky portrays it, I think, is that while the dreamer can look at our, let's say, mundane lives and just see dissatisfaction and exhaustion, for him, life itself is often the dream he wakes from. And in that waking up, he finds this new, maybe painful, but new understanding of what it means to truly connect.
White Nights is often called this poignant exploration of love, loss, and self-discovery. How do those really deep human elements weave together in the story to create such a profound impact?
The story powerfully shows the transformative power of pure and possible love. It demonstrates how even an intense connection, regardless of the circumstances or its inevitable end, can be deeply significant. It's
Yeah.
fundamentally a narrative about two lonely souls, and through their shared experiences, they find these fleeting moments of joy in each other's company. And those moments, however brief they are, they become the foundation for the dreamer's eventual transformation.
Right. And here's where it gets really challenging, I think, for you, the listener. The dreamer's journey, it forces him to confront the fact that life is full of loss as well as love. He's left wrestling with this incredibly profound question, whether one moment of happiness is sufficient to justify the sacrifices made throughout his life. I mean, that's a real punch to the gut, isn't it?
It really is. And the sources drive this home with a pretty stark question for you. Is a single moment of sober happiness too little for a man's entire life? The story really compels you to reflect on your own experiences. It leaves you with this sense of nostalgia and longing for our own lost opportunities. It's a powerful, almost brutal reminder, really, to cherish the fleeting moments of beauty and joy and to never take our experiences or relationships for granted because, well, they're all we truly have.
Yeah. And Dostoevsky's writing style itself, that's undeniably a huge part of why this story hits so hard. What's his unique magic touch in White Nights? How does he make it so universally impactful?
Dostoevsky just has this incredible ability to make us feel like we're reading about ourselves. It's uncanny. He can pluck these deep insights from our subconscious minds. His words, they act like a mirror, reflecting the depths of our own emotions. Many readers say they feel exposed, but also somehow purified by his brutal honesty. It's not just a story you read, it's really an experience you have, one that kind of forces you to reevaluate your own priorities.
Okay, so for someone who might be new to Dostoevsky, maybe a bit intimidated by, say, Crime and Punishment, how does White Nights work as an entry point into his, let's face it, formidable literary world?
White Nights is very often described as an excellent starting point.
Yeah.
It gives you a nuanced understanding of his style, which, as you said, can be pretty overwhelming in his later, much bigger novels. It's almost like a concentrated shot of his genius. And it's really fascinating, too, that Dostoevsky himself revisited similar themes, 17 years later? In Notes from the Underground, many see that as a kind of spiritual successor.
Beyond just its literary quality, what really stands out about the lasting impact of this specific novella on readers? What's the thing that sticks with you?
Readers are just consistently deeply moved by it. They find the writing relatable, thought-provoking, and masterfully crafted. But I think maybe more than that, it's the beautiful quotes. They're particularly memorable. They aren't just lines on a page. They almost become like personal mantras for people. They linger long after you finish reading, pushing you to revisit those core questions about life, happiness, dreams versus reality.
It really doesn't surprise me that such a powerful, internal kind of story has been adapted for the screen. Can you tell us a bit about some of the notable film versions? How do they take Dostoevsky's themes and, well, make them visual?
Sure. There are at least two really significant film adaptations people talk about. First, there's Luchino Visconti's Italian White Nights from 1957. That's a classic. And then there's the Iranian White Nights from 2001, directed by Farzad Motman. What's really intriguing is how each film, working from the same source, offers a really distinct interpretation, a different lens.
So if we connect that to the bigger picture, how do these adaptations, maybe especially the Iranian one, use visual storytelling? Or maybe shifts in the narrative to deepen Dostoevsky's original themes, fantasy, reality, social isolation? Do they uncover new layers, maybe?
Well, the Iranian version, for instance, it adds these unique artistic touches that really highlight the dreamer's transformation in a different way. Dostoevsky's original narrator, often described as kind of pitiful, right? But the film's teacher character, he's portrayed as more refined. He has literary skills, a library, interactions with books, people, buildings, solitude. This teacher character goes through a more pronounced inner transformation, which is highlighted visually by things like selling his library, reciting a poem. It's a really fascinating example of how that core narrative can be interpreted differently, to emphasize different parts of the human experience, that painful but maybe beautiful journey towards accepting reality.
So we've taken a pretty deep dive into Dostoevsky's White Nights. We've walked through the lonely dreamer's inner world, his really poignant encounter with Nastenka, and explored those profound questions about love, loss, and that constant tension, that push and pull between fantasy and reality. It's such a powerful reminder, I think, that even the briefest moments of connection can leave this lasting mark on our souls, something that echoes through a lifetime.
Yeah, the story truly is a testament to the transformative power of human emotions. It really shows how love, even if it's unrequited love, can be the very thing that pushes us from that comforting world of dreams into the stark, often painful, but ultimately maybe necessary acceptance of reality.
And as the dreamer is left wondering whether that one single moment of happiness is really worth a lifetime of sacrifice, and the source material reminds us that life will keep on spinning and we'll all be left with just memories. Here's a final provocative thought for you to consider. If Dostoevsky is suggesting that maybe true happiness isn't found in endless dreaming, but in those brief, painful, yet utterly real moments of connection, what unrequited moments perhaps in your own life have shaped you the most? And what are you doing now to make sure your story isn't just a dream, but a lived experience, full of cherished, maybe even challenging memories?
In the end, perhaps it's not really about what happens to us, is it? But maybe how we respond and how we manage to find the beauty and the profound wisdom, even in the hardest truths.